Right now, the Henry County Board of Commissioners is holding a public hearing on new regulations for data centers.
And of course, data centers have been a hot button issue across Metro Atlanta for several months now. Atlanta News First, Sarah Hammond is live for us in McDonough. And Sarah, commissioners say that they are trying to get ahead of the influx of these centers.
Yeah, that's right. Georgia is now one of the largest data center hubs in the country, and Henry County commissioners say they want to make sure some protections are in place for the people who live here as these data centers become more prevalent. Now, these commissioners say right now they don't have any standards in place to protect citizens or natural resources when it comes to data centers, and that's what they say this ordinance will do. While they don't have any data center proposals on the table right now, commissioners say they know they are coming. Commission Chair Carlotta Harrell said the county did not know about a data center being built in Hampton, Georgia, until it was already approved by the city. An issue of who will provide the immense amount of water required prompted the county's water authority to pass their own set of ordinances for any future major water uses, forcing prospective companies to do a feasibility study before they would agree to provide water.
I just want to make sure that we have policy in place that protects, our water supply, our water resources, and that nothing is passed on to, the residents. That if someone, regardless of whether it's a data center or some other type industry.
Now, this ordinance in front of the commissioners would be one of the more restrictive data center regulatory frameworks in the region. This is the first of two public hearings, and they anticipate this ordinance to come back in front of the board in February, potentially for a vote. Live here in Henry County, Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First.